Hello everyone, you are welcome to Network Tips. So in our previous video, we discussed about build automation tool and how it can help us to automatically build our application, test our application, and also deploy our application into different environments. And one of the best build automation tool that we have out there is Jenkins. So in this class, I'm going to be walking you down through how you can, run Jenkins as a container. So the best place to see to find container images is hub.docker.com. So head on to Docker Hub and they search for Jenkins and they select the official image of Jenkins. Then walk through down this documentation to see how you can deploy Jenkins. But before then, we have to set up the server we are going to use to deploy Jenkins. So for me, I'm using AWS. You might be using maybe Azure or Linode or DigitalOcean, whichever one, or your local system as well. But let it have a lot of resources because Jenkins requires a lot of resources to run. So here I'm going to give it a name, Jenkins, and I'm going to select my AMI image. For here, for this course or for this class, I'm using Ubuntu just to be consistent in my video. But you can use Amazon, which is way more cheaper and it's also gonna serve you very well. From what I'm doing in this class, it's going to do the same thing I'm doing in this class as well. No difference. So here I'm going to change the instance type. So we're going to choose an instance that is a little bit much bigger because Jenkins requires a lot of compute resource and also memory to run. So here I'm going to use T2 large. So mind you, you are going out from your free tier eligibility. So you are going to be built for this. So so anytime you are done using this Jenkins, ensure to stop it so you won't accumulate your bill. So I'm going to use my PEM key. If you don't have one, you can create them. This my network group. Put it as a public subnet, the subnet that has an internet gateway on it. If you don't have, if you don't know how to create a subnet that has an internet gateway, you can watch my previous video on EC2 instance. Then also you can also come here and reference your security group and enable the security group that has ports 22 allowed as well. Then here I'm going to increase my virtual volume to like at least 20 gig. Then after then you're going to launch your instance. I'm not going to do that because I already have this instance running on my AWS console. So I already copied the IP and I've SSH to it as well. So first thing first, once you log into this instance for the first time, first thing you're going to do is update your instance by using sudo app. If you're on that Amazon AMI image, you're going to use Yum. But for Ubuntu, it's a Debian image, you're going to use app, then update. Then you use Y to accept all the requirements. Then also to find out if there's any update, then use upgrade to now upgrade your those packages as well. But I've already done that, and after that you are now going to install Docker on this machine using sudo app, then install Docker. I've already done that as well, so I won't do that here in this class as well. Then once you are done, you use Docker, you type Docker commands, you should have access to Docker commands. But if you do sudo Docker image and it's showing you permission denied, you need to do sudo systemctl enable dash now, then specify Docker to enable Docker daemon to start running on this system. But I already have it, so what I'm just gonna do is to do sudo Docker images, and I currently don't have any images running on this system. So we are going to go back to that Jenkins Docker Hub image, and I'm going to copy out this command. I'm going to use this one specifically. because it's going to automatically mount this volume for me on my local system. So I'm going to come here and I paste this command. Then make sure that you put sudo at the end of the command, which is going to first of all look for this image locally on your system, and if you didn't find it, it's going to look for it remotely on Docker Hub, and it's showing that this image is unknown. Why is this so? I'm going to explain that in a moment. But let me first of all explain this command for you. So simply run the Docker and image, specify the image name, the container image, then you're specifying the port, which is the UI port to access the Jenkins. And also this is the master port, the master node for Jenkins. Jenkins runs a master slave architecture, so this is the master node port as well. We are also exposing that. Then also -v to automatically mount this val-jenkins underscore home on our system. Then specifying Jenkins itself, which is the image which we want to pull down and run, which is not seen. So remember, anytime you do not specify tag at the end of any image, it's going to automatically think you are running Jenkins colon latest. So it's telling us that this Jenkins latest is not a valid image, and it can't find it on our local repository. Let's go back to that documentation. I'm going to show you why. I'm going to scroll down, scroll up, scroll up, scroll up. We're going to see that this tag is depreciated, and it's telling us that we should use this particular tag. So I'm going to copy this and go back to our terminal, bring up this previous command, then remove this guy, then paste this guy here. This should work. But before then, I want to rename this my container image as just Jenkins. Then I should be able to run this my container. If I hit enter, you can see it's already pulling down the layers of this Jenkins image for me. And once it's done, you should be able to run this image for me. But I missed one thing. I didn't run this Jenkins in detached mode. So I'm going to stop this Jenkins using Control C to stop this my Jenkins. Then do sudo docker remove Jenkins to remove the container image. Then bring up the previous command to run it as a in detached mode. So I'm going to do this. Sorry, I put this -d in the wrong place. So we're going to put this -d here, -d. Then it's going to run it in detached mode for me. So if I do sudo docker ps, I should see my Jenkins container image running just like I want. So I'm going to go back to my AWS console, copy my IP address, then open a new tab, do http // paste that IP address, 8080, because that was the port that we exposed. Remember, make sure that 8080 is also whitelisted on your security group on your EC2 instance. Otherwise, you can't access that. So yeah, so you're showing us that the first page you're going to see is our Jenkins UI page, showing us where the initial password of this admin is stored. So we're going to copy this. We're going to take note of this guy. You can copy it, or you can take note of it on your mind and go back to Jenkins and log in to this Jenkins container. Remember how to log into Jenkins, log into a container image. I'm going to use sudo docker exec then -interactive terminal, then specify the container image which is Jenkins. Remember the name here, Jenkins. Then I'm going to run the command bash to access it using bash terminal. Then it's giving me an error. Docker exec sudo docker exec interactive terminal Jenkins, then bash. So yeah, I think I thought I didn't put S at the end of the Jenkins. I just typed Jenkins. Then what I want to do now is to view that my password, which is cat dash val dash Jenkins home, then secrets, then admin, initial admin password. Then I'll see my admin password, which is what I'm seeing here now. I'm going to copy this my admin password, go back to my UI, and I'll paste it. Then click continue. Then it will log me into my Jenkins. I'll click install all the dependencies. You can choose to install the manually install them, but I'll just choose the install the suggested plugins and go ahead and install all the suggested plugins for this UI. Remember what I told you previously in our previous video, that Jenkins has a rich plugins that will enable us to build and automate our pipeline. So here it's showing me as a first-time user, I should give a name for my login name. I'm going to use admin. You can use anything you want. So I'm going to type in the password I want, then also confirm my password here, then my email address, then yeah, I'm going to leave it at this and save my changes. If it's fine by me, then it's going to save and ask me to save my configuration. I'm going to save and finish my configuration and start Jenkins. It's ready to go. So we are at Jenkins UI. Voila! Very easy and a very quick way to set up Jenkins and start using Jenkins in your environment. So to start doing management configuration or administrative configuration on Jenkins, you go to manage Jenkins. Manage Jenkins, you see the system configuration, different tools that are currently available on this Jenkins. If you want to install any plugins, you click on install plugins. You see nodes available. You can also see the cloud-based configuration and security and configuration of users. Maybe managing users that will be accessing this Jenkins as well. So if I go to tools, for example, you see all the tools available. You can see Git, you can see Gradle, you can see Ant, you can see Maven as well. I'll come back, I'll go back, I'll go to plugins, and I'll show you all the available plugins also in this Jenkins. So if I click on install plugins, you can see the plugins that are already installed on this Jenkins server. If I click on available plugins, it will show me the ones that I have not installed already and that is available for me to install. So for example, if I search for npm, you can see that npm is not installed. So if I install npm now, I should have npm available on the previous on my tool. But I will show you how to do this now in this class. I'll show you in my previous video. In my next video, we're going to see how we can install plugins and also install plugins on UI and also install tools also locally on our Jenkins server. But for now, I would like to bring us to the end of this class, and don't forget to like my video and subscribe to my channel.